Well, it's time to bug out. I've traveled around the world enough that I've sort of developed a process for bugging out, and I won't say that I've got it down to a science, but I've gotten good at it. Here I am. I'm packed up, ready for my next bug out, my next move. I've only been here for about 8, 9 months, and so it's time for my next hop. So I thought I'd take a little bit of time and actually walk through my bug out cases, so to speak, the cases that I assemble my equipment so that I can move them, quickly or on short notice. And this is my shack stored in my two boxes. They're commonly called Gator cases because I think that Gator is the biggest manufacturer of this type of case. Used very much in the music industry for potent amplifiers and such, but they adapt perfectly to ham radio. Now, everybody kind of has a different purpose for building their bug out boxes. And for me, it is really just to keep my radios consolidated into two cases so that as I move from place to place, I'm not packing them into new boxes and moving them. And as far as portability, these things weigh a ton. When you get your radios in there, it's almost a two-man lift to get to travel these around. So when you talk about mobility, it's kind of a relative thing. It's not like taking a VHF, UHF mobile radio and sticking it in a watertight case and along with a battery. For some, that is what they need, but others have very ingenious configurations. This just happens to work for me. And so there you have it. This is my setup. This, as I call it, my space station. It is really for working the satellites. And so at the heart of this is my IC 9700, 2 meters, 70 centimeter, 23 centimeter. So this case came from DX Engineering. It's a iPortable Pro 2. This one's specially made for radios. It's got two speakers on here, which is great because then I can have both bands covered at the same time without switching between them. It's got a plug for headphones. It's got good power management here. Both power takeoff in the front and the cigarette lighter type power outlet plus some USB ports. So great setup for amateur radio, and it mounts the three antenna mounts here on the right side. Actually, the case comes with holes, so you got to put your own mounts in there. But 2 meters, 70 centimeter, and 23 centimeter on the front. I don't know if that's good or bad because I don't like cables coming off my the front, but it does make it easier for plugging it in. And so for the satellite setup, it's of course the base radio, and then the elevation azimuth controller for my G5500 antenna. Disconnected right now, but because I'm moving soon. Two preamplifiers, one for 70 centimeter, one for 2 meter. And then I like having these little 30 amp switching power supplies. They're fairly clean from my use. This one is MFJ. The one on the other box is a PowerWorks. Both of them good, and the reason I like those, one, they're compact, they're small, but they also have mounting brackets that you can mount them, directly bolt them to the tray or into the case itself. It comes with some extra options. There are activities on here: accessory fan, on off. Light. It's got a nice light, so if you're operating in hours of darkness or limited visibility, you can turn the light on, and it's got a dimming switch so you can change the lighting to your need. And so that's my space station setup. Now my terrestrial setup is the one above it. The heart of this one is the IC 7300. Love that for an HF radio, but of course it doesn't have 2 meter or 70 centimeter, which are, you know, kind of the two primary bands above HF. So I have two radios. I have an FTM 100 and an FTM 300 for VHF and UHF. I've got two of them in there. One I was planning on setting it up just for Wires X and have it dedicated to Wires X and running for that, and the other one monitoring VHF and UHF for comms. So I have two of them. But part of the reason was I just had the two radios, and I figured I'd stick them in there. There was space for it, so they work well. One of the things to take into consideration when you're building a setup similar to this is the fact that the speakers fire up. And so when you're mounting radios into a box like this, you have to take into account that you need to get the sound out. And so fortunately for the iPortable setup here, it's got two speakers already built into the front, which is great. I love that. For the HF, I bought just a square speaker. This is Pyle Home, Pyle Home. It's just kind of a stock audio speaker, but it works great. The sound sounds very nice. And for my VHF UHF, I've got a Yaesu speaker up here, which fits in there really nicely, and it's made for these radios, so it's a great addition. Tuner for the HF if I need it, but to be honest, the IC7300, the tuner in there does very well. The nice thing I like about these Yaesu radios is the detachable head. So I couldn't quite fit both of the bodies in here, so I just detached one of the bodies and moved it towards the rear. And then this is just the head that's sitting above the other radio. So of course you got to fix the equipment here to the box so that it's not bouncing around and that. And so you have these racks that you can independently move these up and down to suit your needs. Your options are either bolted to the rack inside the case, in which case you'd have to use a bracket, one of the normal VHF UHF radio, the portable radio brackets for mounting in the car. But for the bigger radios like the IC9700 and IC7300, they don't come with brackets, so you have to buy them separately, and they're like $50 a piece. So it's a little pricey for just a bent piece of metal. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. And so for those things, you do buy them. And that's, like I said, that's why I bought these power supplies. One, because they're small, they're compact for the box, but two, because there are mounting brackets available for them, so you can mount them directly to the rack. The other option, which I've found to be almost as good, is to buy Scotch 3M has a Velcro type fastener. It says it's 3 times stronger than Velcro. I found it grips like iron. And it's simply a Velcro type. It's got a sticky face on one side and then the Velcro grippers on the other side. But it's not the fuzzy kind. They're more a different kind of a loop and fastener type configuration on there. But they're solid, and probably about half the stuff in here I've actually mounted with that Scotch 3M. It's I think they just call it extreme fastener. It says it'll hold 10 pounds, but you don't really have to hold the weight. It's just basically to keep it from moving inside. And I found once I fastened it down with that fastening material, it's solid. As a matter of fact, when I'm trying to get it out of the case, I really have to take care that in taking it out. It takes a lot of effort. And for things like hanging the microphones, so Yaesu is still using that little disc thing from the old CB days, and that's fine. The microphone hanger is just mount right to the side of the case, and so they just press in there and actually holds them well. Now ICOM's using that just a little loop here, and so I had to manufacture. I 3D printed some their key hooks. But they work great for this. Again, they just mount right straight to the case, and then you just hang your microphone there. So as we flip it around and look at the rear here for the power management, yeah, it looks kind of like a rat's nest a bit right now. I need to do some cable management here and get it a little bit cleaner, but at least you'll be able to see. So the purpose of my cases is really to have everything consolidated in one location, so when I move that I can easily just set up. And so it's not, I don't have it configured for batteries. There's no batteries in here. It's got a one power strip here that will power basically both sides. I can just run both of them off of that, and it's straight. It just plugs into the 120 for here in the United States, the 120 wall socket. And then, of course, from that, we've got the 12-volt power supplies here, which feed into a Johnson power pole bank here that I can feed all of my radios off of the one bank there. I have my satellite rotator control box back here. I don't really need to see the face of it. But to be honest, I switched over and I think it was a Fox FT2, if I recall correctly. And it ran fine, but it was all cables. And so, but I started using the SAT antenna controller box instead of the that Fox FT2, because this is wireless to the laptop or tablet, whatever. You just dial right into it, and it's great. It works well. It rotator control and rig control, so you kind of, and it does satellite predictions, so it's kind of all in one box here. It's a really nice, nifty little item that I've added to my kit here. Well, there you have it. There's my Bugout box configuration. Hope you can take something away from it as far as building and construction techniques. If you get anything out of these videos, please hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks very much.